Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 in our video series of the Legends in Lutherie with Rick Turner of Rick Turner Guitars and Richard Hoover of Santa Cruz Guitar Company. In this next video, we're going to be back in the shop at Santa Cruz Guitar Company, and the guys are going to be talking about the woods, the components, and everything that makes up the Legends in Lutherie project. So let's have a look. We're at the Santa Cruz Guitar Company guitar shop. They're inside. We're going to go say hello because today we're discussing the Legends in Lutherie project. It's about 8:30 a.m. What is it, Thursday morning?
Thursday.
Good morning.
Welcome to Santa Cruz.
And this is my good friend Carolyn here. She runs the show at Santa Cruz Guitar Company.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay, so we're back in the shop at Santa Cruz Guitar Company with Rick Turner and Richard Hoover. And guys, we're getting to see these guitars a little bit up close and personal. Not quite completed, but what do we got so far? Tell us.
This is something to be proud of. Whoever gets this hopefully is going to share their music with others, because this is designed to be not only really articulate, but really quick in response and really projects efficiently. It's designed to really impress the audience or the microphone in recording. And this top is a real key component. This redwood comes from Yosemite National Park and is reclaimed from a bridge that was made in the 1920s. And it had to come down because it's old and it got damaged in a fire. And we're lucky enough to have this. Not only is that a beautiful story of reclamation rather than cutting a tree, but the age gives this a quality of tone that you couldn't get in a processed piece of wood. Back and sides on this are genuine mahogany, and that's a tone that's midpoint between super bright and articulate, maybe even a little shrill, to dark warm and maybe even a little bit muddy. So by being in that mid-range of tone, this makes this a real versatile articulate instrument to play. The bracing in this guitar is Adirondack spruce. Because of its weight to strength ratio, is also a very clear, bright tone that'll work. And we put that in with hot hide glue in order to give it even more quickness in response, because hide glue dries like glass and vibration moves through it really quickly and efficiently. The top, back, and sides are coupled with a basswood lining rather than the traditional cedar, because what that does is it blocks vibration from the top from transferring into the back and sides, where it just goes into the air and it focuses towards the audience. That is all put together in tune with itself. So the braces on the top were tuned to make a chord, so they'll sustain and develop overtones. And then when the top was put to the body, again, that was tuned to the airspace. So this is like one of the good ones. We know that before we even string it up. You know, it's going to be spectacular.
The redwood top here, the Yosemite redwood top, is less important to the tone of the Model 1 than the mahogany. Again, Honduras mahogany back and sides. The body is made as a clamshell, and you can see some of the hollow points in it, hollowed here and here, mainly for electronics and here for some weight reduction. Because we traditionally do laminated necks for our higher end Model 1s, this one is laminated Honduras mahogany with black acacia that came from the Santa Cruz Mountains. Again, much like Richard's thoughts on reclaimed wood, this came from a tree that was going to fall down and kill a house.
Oh boy.
And it was a big tree. It was about 38 inches in diameter. And a friend of mine saw the arborist cutting up the tree, and he went, whoa, 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 I got a guy that can use that stuff. And he brought me 2 truckloads of quartered log sections, which we then did the milling on and resawing on. Again, you know, our traditional way of doing the peg heads is to do this backstrap overlay, and but then again, black peg head face, tortoise ivory binding, and the ebony fingerboard with the inlay of Richard and me.
Very cool.
Yes.
With signature.
With signature.
That's really, really nice.
So, yeah.
And we'll give credit at the appropriate time.
Right.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here's our delightful co-project. We're going to change the world with this. Where we're at on our part of this series is we've completed the body and it's been voiced and tuned. There's really no question what this is going to sound like when we put strings on it. And this is the Yosemite Reclamation Rosewood from the old bridge, and it being now 100 years old from the living tree, it really sounds good. And genuine mahogany, again, this is a reclamation of old wood. It's got a nice neutral tone. We came up with this binding together, me and Rick, to have a unique look of it. It's kind of a cowboy rope that's on that. And under finish on this, it'll be prettier the closer you get to it, more elegant with that. The neck on this is also old mahogany, and it's a particularly dense piece of wood. And we want that weight because that's going to block energy from vibration in the body from chimneying in the neck and being lost for projection to the audience. So this is a real professional tool that's going to really be a awesome instrument for somebody for performance or recording. This neck is just roughed out. The shape will be completed once it's assembled. And this ebony fretboard is part of the weight consideration in this neck to keep vibration projecting with that. This is our little tribute here, thanks to Brendan at Heartbreaker Guitars. Legends in Lutherie, that certainly sounds nice to me. And the little twin redwood trees there, and then my signature and Rick's signature on that. This guitar has, this neck has everything ready to go. We'll finish them separately before they go together, so this other has to come out for repair. It'll come in and out with no evidence that anything's ever been done. So where we are right now is the neck's being fit to the body, the fingerboard will be attached, and then they'll separate to go into finish. So we're really close on this one. I'm going to say probably 2 weeks in finish and a week in setup, so under a month on this one. Okay, so I'm going to bring this body over a little bit closer, and most people don't know how to look for quality in wood. The look really isn't a big indicator of quality of sound or even the variance in sound, but that's the stuff. That's the stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff.
And this top has actually been tuned before it went on the body, and the brace is tuned, and when it goes onto this body, we'll do a secondary tuning. The top will stay in unison and tune, and as we sand it down, those notes will go down together until they match the note of this airspace, and that's where we'll get the real resonance. This is deadened right now because this tape has a center line to line the neck up to, and because we don't want to draw a pencil line on the top. This.
A little bit? Oh no, back up. Just step backwards.
Oh.
There you go. Perfect. Go ahead.
Okay. So I talked about this mahogany. Right now it's in its natural state, which always surprises people. It's a little blonde, but by the time we're done with the finish, it'll have a really beautiful, lustrous nut brown tone to it that'll actually be graduated a little bit. One of the cool tricks to do is to put very subtle shading where your eye expects to see shadow rather than leaving it one color, and that goes from looking pretty good to looking really elegant and expensive. What we have here, the marquetry or the purfle combination, is different bits of walnut, which is resonant in itself. So when we use a hard wood in this decorative thing here, that would take the vibration away from the audience into the sides and back. This little tiny black line is fiber, not wood, and that's the trick in the violin. The little black line that runs around the top of the violin actually is like paper, and it blocks vibration from going from the top into the sides and being lost as projection. So that's what we put that in for to do. And the outside is It's actually, we fooled Mother Nature here. We can make this look like ivory or tortoiseshell, or in this case, black. And what it is, it's the fibers of cotton, which is cellulose, melted in a solvent and recast and dyed, in this case, just black. But cellulose is also what trees are made out of. And so we're fooling Mother Nature and reconstituting this and turning it into something that's a whole lot more flexible to go around here, but it's still like wood. And that works the best for sound for this. Side of this is a traditional violin purfle here that goes on this side. And that's part of that isolation process. It'll give this projection. So this guitar, when you sit and play it behind it, it'll be pleasing. But when you go around to the other side, it will really be surprising. This is going to be a beaut. The back is the same theme with that walnut and the purfle to separate the plate. So the neck and body have already been fit really precisely, but they'll go into finish together.
So here's the electric half of the Legend series, the Turner guitar, Model 1, with the Yosemite redwood top, gigantic sequoia, giganteum, and Honduras mahogany body, back and sides, with the purfling, double purfling lines. We've got, get out of there, there we go. It broke, I broke it. That's a good example of our neck fit. We want these necks to fit really tight. In our case, we've gone with a Honduras mahogany laminated neck with local black acacia stripes. Another thing with this urban harvest of hardwoods. And as with Richard's theory, we're trying to make the neck really reflect the energy back into the strings to help the sustain of the instrument. We've got our typical multiple overlay, back strap overlay on the back of the peg head, and the black front, the tortoise celluloid binding, and the fingerboard featuring 2 redwood trees. I don't know which one is Richard and which one is me, but we can swap. Right, yeah, we can swap on that. Ebony board, as per the Santa Cruz guitar. Same basic logic in the wood choices, although obviously ours is a solid body. Yeah, that's how well the neck fits. But we find ourselves in great agreement on the contribution of the woods. In our case, the redwood has less effect than it does on Richard's, but it's still there, adding a little bit of spice to the warmth and sustain that we get out of the mahogany body. Also, with the Model 1, the choice to do the arched top and back, which you can see here, was very deliberate. I didn't want any parallel surfaces in this guitar that might tend to have standing waves of vibration in them. And so we've got this arch top, arch back thing going on here. The body is a clamshell. The bodies are made in 2 halves. We've got some hollowing out in here. I hate to use the word chambering because it implies that we're trying to tune internal chambers. This is really a weight reduction and space for the electronics. We do have it hollow over here as well as over here. Once again, that's a weight reduction issue.
Could you explain, okay, you talked about the non-parallel surfaces.
Yes.
And how that actually changes the sound. Could you explain that a little bit more?
Well, with parallel surfaces, you have internal reflections in the wood, which tend to stack up as a particular resonance. We're trying to smooth that out. And by having non-parallel surfaces, the wavelengths is constantly changing in the relationship between the surfaces. It's the same thing that they do in recording studios of having non-parallel walls so that you don't have buildup of certain frequencies in the instrument.
Can we see the side of the guitar so we can see that?
Sure.
So it's much thinner on the sides.
Much thinner on the sides, and then you can see we're a full 2.5 inches thick in the center. We get out to about 7/8 of an inch at the edges. So it's a cylindrical arch here, top and the back.
It's a symmetrical design too. How does that differ from other solid body guitars where it's non-parallel, but yet it's just contoured in strange ways other than...
Well, like a Les Paul.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like a Les Paul doesn't have parallel surfaces in it either. And I don't think that it was such a deliberate design feature from the point of view of the sonics of the instrument. It was more a throwback to Gibson's history of making archtop guitars. So it was more like one of their jazz guitars. But in my case, it was a very deliberate attempt to make an instrument that would have warmth, but not have the resonances build up too much at one frequency.
More
Trying to make it
complex,
smooth.
more complex tone.
More complex and smoother. Also, the idea of having a rigid neck and a neutral fingerboard and a body that would provide a lot of sustain.
And Rick, when are we going to see these for the first time?
In a few weeks. Well, you just saw it.
In person.
Let's
Finished,
put some strings
completed.
on. Oh, a few weeks. 3 weeks.
Could we just slap some strings on it real quick? I'm sure it'll
Why
sound
not?
fine. Okay.
One of the things that we did for Brendan for sound on this, I'm talking about this, articulate response from the instrument, is we brace this with Adirondack spruce bracing, and Adirondack has a brighter, clearer tone than, let's say, Sitka spruce, which is most commonly used. And what that does is it transmits vibration quicker, and that's part of this sound of this instrument. The other thing we do is we glue those on with an old-fashioned hide glue, which, unlike modern polymers like a tight bond or a polyvinyl resin that are used in production, this dries like glass. So the combination of that glue and the Adirondack spruce gives this a really, really quick response and really bright, clear, and articulate. And that effort's worthwhile. They'll be part of the whole principle of this instrument. Good idea, Brendan.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the interview. Next on deck in our next series, we're going to be actually touring Rick Turner's shop and asking him a few questions about the Legends and Lutherie guitars. The unveiling for this guitar, the official unveiling, is December 4th, right here in the shop. We're going to live stream it. We're going to bring you guys photos. We're going to bring you guys video. So stay tuned for the Legends and Lutherie project with Rick Turner of Rick Turner Guitars and Richard Hoover of Santa Cruz Guitar Company. Guys, we will see you soon with the finished product of these amazing, legendary guitars. They're going to be awesome. See you guys soon.